What is crypto mining? How does it work? Can you actually make a passive income doing it? Is it profitable? In today's video, I'm going to cover all of these questions. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So what actually is crypto mining? This is the process of validating transactions on a blockchain network. Essentially, miners serve as the security checkpoint for token swaps, sending tokens, someone's trying to stake their crypto, etc. Miners essentially validate and confirm these transactions. This ensures the security and the trustlessness of Web3 applications and just blockchain as a whole. Now, miners use powerful computers and processors to solve complex mathematical computations. These problems are called cryptographic puzzles. The first miner to solve these puzzles gets the right to add the block to the blockchain, essentially enabling them to process that transaction, which they then get rewarded for doing. This is how a proof of work consensus works. Now, there are many types of mining consensus mechanisms. There is the proof of work consensus, which again is where miners solve these complex cryptographic puzzles. And the first miner to solve that puzzle is able to validate the transaction, add the block to the blockchain, and then they get rewarded. There is a proof of stake consensus, which instead of having miners solve complex problems, validators are actually chosen to add the new blocks based on how much crypto they hold and are willing to stake as collateral. Proof of stake is definitely considered to be more energy efficient than proof of work. Some examples of proof of stake are Ethereum, Solana, and Cardano. And then there are also other alternatives like DPoS, which is Delegated Proof of Stake, where coin holders vote on a handful of delegates who validate transactions and add the new blocks. The DPoS definitely raises some concerns of decentralization, but now the concept of crypto mining began with Bitcoin back in 2009. It was initially possible to use a CPU out of an everyday computer to mine and validate the Bitcoin blockchain, but as more people joined the network and there were more miners added to the mining ecosystem, it ended up getting more competitive, causing people to transition to GPUs or higher level processors like ASICs. Now, the difference between ASICs and GPUs and CPUs. ASICs are application-specific integrated circuits. These are designed to mine a specific crypto. They're super efficient at solving cryptographic puzzles. They're much more powerful and efficient than GPUs and CPUs, and this makes them the preferred choice to mine blockchains like Bitcoin. One downside is that they are really expensive, and if the algorithm that you are trying to solve is changed, they will become obsolete. Now, GPUs are graphics processing units. These were initially designed to render images for video games, but they've been adapted to mining because of their ability to handle repetitive and parallel computations efficiently. All of these are really helpful when trying to mine. GPUs are very versatile and can be used to mine a wide range of cryptocurrencies. Particularly, they are popular for mining altcoins. Now, while they are way more flexible than ASICs, they are also a lot less efficient. Now, CPUs are central processing units. This is the general processor in your everyday computer. It has the ability to handle a wide range of tasks. CPUs were really used in the early days of mining Bitcoin as it was really not super competitive. It didn't require a lot of energy or processing power, but as Bitcoin gained more popularity and the mining ecosystem became more competitive, CPUs were just outran by new GPUs and specifically designed mining setups like ASICs. Today, CPUs are very rarely used just because they're pretty much obsolete. Now, you can also use a mining software where you can offer your computer resources to a blockchain network, and you will in turn be paid for those resources. And then you can also join mining pools, which essentially this is a bunch of processors that combine their computational power together in order to solve cryptographic problems. And basically, once a validation is transacted, the reward is dispersed evenly amongst everybody in the pool, which when you mine on your own, it's definitely a lot harder to get a block transacted. But when you have a wider range of processors working together, you are more consistent with solving these problems. In turn, you can receive more rewards, but they are broken down amongst everybody. So how much does it cost to set up an entire mining operation? Well, your startup costs might look something like this. First, you're going to have the hardware costs. The initial investment into mining hardware can be relatively expensive. These prices can range from a few hundred to multiple $1,000s. You may also need additional equipment like mining containers or cooling devices. You'll also have your running costs. This includes things like your power consumption, which mining takes a lot of electricity to do, especially when you are using something like an ASICs. Things like location also play a factor in the overall price of energy. There's also ongoing maintenance costs. This is because mining hardware can degrade over time from nonstop processing high-level computations. Lots of components may need to be fixed or replaced. And then you need to make sure you have proper cooling and ventilation for the processors, as things like having your units overheat can cause damage. And then the last thing you factor in is your income versus expenses. You have to account for things like halving events and what impact that has on your mining rewards, the actual price fluctuation of your rewarded currency, and overall just the demand for the network you are mining difficulty adjustments, network hash rate. All of these things play into account. So all in all, your expectation of how much you can make passively from mining should vary. Mining can provide a relatively steady stream of income, but it is essential to understand that this is not completely passive as it may seem. There's a lot of maintenance and things you have to keep up to date with to have a successful mining operation. You need to manage hardware, pay for your electricity, keep up with all of the network developments, and then there's just all of the risk factors of price fluctuation, staying profitable from your rewards, etc. Now, there are a few mining calculators online that you can use to get a ballpark estimate of how profitable a operation in your area with your energy costs could be, but these are all just approximations, and price can definitely go up or down on power or the cryptocurrency, so keep that in mind. Some ways that you can increase your profitability are, using renewable sources of energy, or having a really super efficient and low energy consumption setup. These types of things can keep operations profitable while others are maybe not. So all in all, here is the pros and cons. You definitely have a potential for profit, and a steady profit at that. If you have access to low energy and efficient mining hardware, there's definitely the opportunity to be massively profitable. By mining, you are helping to secure the blockchain and just playing a role in the grander ecosystem of Web3 and crypto. And again, while it is not entirely passive, it is pretty steady and consistent, specifically if you join into a large mining pool. But some of the cons are the startup cost of having a mining operation is very expensive. You have a lot of things you have to account for. The upfront cost for hardware and facilities, coupled with energy prices. All of these things definitely can add together to flip a mining operation upside down overnight. And then fluctuations in your reward currency can really drive your operation into the ground. All of these things you have to be aware of. So basically, if you have access to cheap energy and you can get a efficient system, you can definitely be profitable at mining. Adding things like solar panels or wind turbines could definitely be a strong factor in making an operation profitable. So yeah, that is actually it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Please be sure to like and subscribe. I hope to see you guys at my next video. And as always, stay degen.